like every 90s child, I've seen Pocahontas several times, and I believed I liked it as a child, but as memories begin to fade, I kind of stopped remembering why I liked it and ultimately just stopped enjoying it as a, well, not as a film, but as a concept, because I hadn't actually seen this in maybe more than 20 years. So I decided to give it a watch, give it another go now as an adult. I really like this. I love the animation style. It's never going to be one of my favorite Disney films, but now that I'm watching it with a more analytical and observational eye, there are a lot of small things in this that I really appreciated. And the first one is the animation style. I think it's absolutely gorgeous and not exactly like every other Disney film from around this time. There's something about it. I think it's the increased amount of jagged lines. There's a lot of harsh lines in this that we don't necessarily get as much with other Disney, I was in the Disney princess films, but other similar films like this. And the colors are also very different, partly because of, um, you know, Virginia and the way it would have looked at the time. Very earthy tones, very different to a lot of Disney films. But I also just really enjoyed the story and the interesting message about communication, which I'll talk more about in a moment. But this was released, of course, in 1995. I was 3. I expect I probably saw it for the first time around about the age of 4. Directed by Mike Gabriel and Eric Goldberg, with an absolutely fantastic voice cast that I did not appreciate until watching it now. Mel Gibson is John Smith. Linda Hunt is the fabulous Grandmother Willow. The animation for Grandmother Willow is so exquisite. I absolutely love her. Christian Bale voices Billy Connolly. Irene Bedard voices Pocahontas. Danny Mann voices Percy, who is one of my favourite Disney dogs. He is very, very cute. The story, of course, itself is based on the life of Pocahontas. Now, I didn't until relatively recently, I'm not talking last week, but not that long ago, knew that Pocahontas was a real person. I don't know how true this is to the story of Pocahontas, or indeed how true it is to 17th century Virginia. But generally speaking, you know what's happening with the colonists. Ah, when the Billy Connolly's arrive in Virginia, along with the rest of the colonists. And it feels like what I would imagine. And of course, these English colonists arrive threatening to change the land and take over everything and ruin the livelihoods of the Algonquin chief and the tribe. But when John Smith meets Pocahontas, they begin to bond. And one of the favourite things I love about this is that even though they begin to speak to each other in English, it's obviously not that they're speaking together in English. They are communicating in ways that would be, signs, hand language, movements, just general compassion and understanding. Obviously, for the benefit of the film, we need to hear the words they're saying so we can understand. But it's showing that no matter how different you think you are, fundamentally we are all the same and can understand one another and our basic needs. And I like that. I think it's a really great message that we can relate to in all kinds of walks of life. Not necessarily between the English and the Algonquin tribe, but between everybody from all walks of life. And I think it's a really lovely message. One of my favourite characters in this is actually Meeko. He is adorable. And Flit, one of my favourite scenes actually, and one of my all-time favourite scenes in any Disney film, is when Flit is lying on his back and Meeko presses on his stomach and he creates a stream of water from his beak. There's just something about that I think is absolutely adorable. The soundtrack is, of course, fantastic. It did win the music Oscar for Colours of the Wind, which is one of the two most well-known ones in this one. The other one, of course, being Just Around the River Bend. Before watching this today, those are the only two songs that I could have named from this. But actually, I love Steady as the Beating Drum, which is obviously very similar in style. Mine, Mine, Mine is brilliant, and Savages is a really addictive one that I did know that one, but not in any great detail. The soundtrack is just absolutely beautiful, and they utilised the main score throughout it, and it's gorgeous. I definitely gained a newfound appreciation for this, and I'm looking forward to watching the sequel. I'm assuming it's on Disney Plus, where I watched this as well. So whatever fond memories I had of it as a child, they've definitely returned, but maybe with a deeper appreciation for the film's true meanings and what I could truly benefit from with this, and what we could all benefit from with this. Can I fault it? Actually, no. Yeah, there are times when it's a little bit unrealistic, and certain things just probably wouldn't have panned out the way they did. But as a piece of cinema that I'd kind of not taken well to over my adulthood, revisiting it definitely proves to me that it was worth another go. Pocahontas, although not my favourite, definitely has a place in what I consider to be a very beautiful classic Disney film.